Hello, and thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jamie. Today I just woke up on a mission to find my people who are on the same wavelength as I am. And I basically I just woke up and just felt to make this video. So it's a little different, but I'm going to share why I'm on the outside of the outside a lot of the time. And, maybe you can relate. And please, if you do relate to anything that I'm saying, and you are looking for your people and you're wondering if they exist, please comment down below because let's help each other find each other. And yeah, here goes. So I grew up outside of religion. I was never taken to church. In fact, I would go to vacation Bible school with my best friend growing up, and I would sing all the songs and make all the little crafts, and I had no idea what they were talking about. In fact, they would do these trivia games, and I would sit there not knowing any of the answers, wondering how these kids knew this stuff. Because, like, where were they being taught this? Like, how do they know these things? They were going to church, of course. And yeah, I just had no idea. I was just there to like sing and have fun and be with my friend and make crafts. And I love meeting new people. So I had the best time singing about the Lord telling Nord, which is what I thought the song said because I thought it rhymed. And it's funny because I was probably one of the loudest singers, and I was like literally getting all the words wrong. So there's that. And then I just always loved animals. My family and I, we always had animals around. At this point, I see it as I manifested those animals to get me through my childhood, which was very turbulent. And, we had dogs, we had birds, we had parrots, we had hamsters, iguana, guinea pigs, all these different animals. So when they were asking me what I wanted to be when I grew up, or like when I started to have to figure out like a major in college to go towards, I chose marine biology because I grew up going to the beach on vacation and I always loved animals, and I put those together and chose my major. Not the way I would do it now, but hey, what else are you going to do? So I started going towards science in high school. I started taking all the science electives, going on the science track. In fact, I wish I would have taken more art because I had friends who learned how to paint like amazingly well, and I would have loved to take art looking back. But I went on the science track. Science became my religion. I really, you know, got attached to this physical reality and what we could perceive with our limited senses. And, I was one that would often read nonfiction. I wasn't really into fiction. And I really went with like what could be proven with science, which now I see as a farce because look, science is bought by big pharma to tell us to do certain things, and it will literally give us the results that it wants to give us to get us to do certain things and conform to the reality that they want us to conform to. So I see through that now, and like I had to basically deprogram myself because I was a nurse and I don't believe in contagion. I just don't. And especially with the natural healing that I've done, and I see that every single ailment for every single person goes back to a very unique dimension of time, a very unique cause. So there's that. And then after all of that, after being in science and all the things, I ended up getting sucked into the New Age trap. And I call it a trap because it is a trap, because it's just another religion to get you to call on things outside yourself, which all of these things have in common, by the way. Religion, science, New Age, it's all getting you to call on things outside of yourself. Oftentimes, people in the New Age start praying to things, asking for things outside themselves to help them, and start really even further disempowering their own spirit by doing that. Because when we're asking for help from outside ourselves, we're really forgetting the fact of how powerful we are as a spirit having this human experience. And our spirit will do all of the things for us, but if we're asking everything else out for help, then it's not going to be able to, and it's going to just take a back seat and let us do what we want, because we do have free will. But I'm telling you, it's so powerful when you put your spirit in the driver's seat and you start telling it what you want instead of asking for it from outside of yourself. And if you're here and you're listening to this so far and you're resonating, then you already know these things. But you know, I think then the new age, it kicks everybody into drugs too, because essentially if you didn't get there from your childhood and the tumultuous time that you had, or you know, you didn't get there from peer pressure in high school, which I would just pass on everything all through high school. I also grew up in a family that smoked cigarettes heavily and drank alcohol, and what else? Oh, coffee was a big vice in my family. And I could see that I didn't want to be dependent on substances like everyone around me seemed to be, because, you know, I would watch as alcohol would turn people into assholes. I didn't want to be an asshole, so I didn't drink until like my junior year of college, actually. And I hung out with all the people smoking pot because they were the coolest, I think, most down to earth, grounded people. But at the same time, like, they were totally trying to escape reality through drugs. And I didn't want any part of that, but I wanted friends. And I found friends in that group and, you know, continue to be friends with them after high school. Some of them really good people, really good hearted people. So I'm glad for that. But like, I just watched as like, say, you know, people were using coffee as a vice where they would drink so much of it that if they didn't have it, they would get headaches or turn into just complete monsters. And I didn't want that. I never wanted to be dependent on anything outside of myself. Never wanted to have any kind of vices like that. So I just didn't do it. And, you know, that sometimes puts me outside the outside too, because I don't drink alcohol. I don't do plant medicines. I don't do psychedelics. I don't smoke pot. I don't drink coffee. I don't really consume much caffeine at all. Maybe chocolate here and there at this point, but generally I don't like to depend on things outside of myself for anything. If that's you too, please comment below, because I feel like this is a time for us to come together and realize that there are more of us out here than we think. And that's what I'm looking to do, is just connect with people who have realized that the things outside of us are not the answer, that it's our own spirit and our own power that we need to tap into in order to successfully move through this reality the way that our spirit intended when we threw elbows and got ourselves into these meat suits. So yeah, you know, I've done all the things. I've done the group meditations. I got into doing Reiki at one point, and I got so just over handing out band-aids in the form of big pharma as a nurse and is energy as someone doing Reiki. And I in fact had to clear out the Reiki entity because that stuff is not good. Like, it's detrimental. So, you know, I've come to realize that when we call things in from outside of ourselves, we open ourselves up to things in other dimensions that then really can negatively impact our lives. And I feel like it's interesting because where I've been brought to here in Hawaii is that all of that is very much alive and well, right? And I'm finding that I sort of have to like weave in and out, and I just do what I feel to do at any given time. Like, I no longer care about appeasing anyone or doing things to make friends. Like, if I don't feel to do something, I just don't do it. And I just trust that I'm going to meet other people who are on the same path, who are realizing these things, who aren't like relying on some god or spirit guides or politicians or drugs or anything else to save them, but that they are truly ready to step into their power, and they're doing it and they're following their heart. And if that's you, please comment down below. So I'm looking for the people who are open-hearted, who have come to these realizations and who are following their heart no matter what. And sometimes it takes a lot of peeling back layers of interference and layers of ego and layers of thought to get to that point and realize that you don't need any of that. But when you do, like, I see us coming together now. So thank you for being here. Have a beautiful day.